All right, Zach.
Here we go.
Here we go. First edition of, what are we calling it?
The Cultcast?
The Cultcast. First edition of the Cultcast, brought to you by Cipher, myself, USB, the unsung bastard, and my homeboy to the left of me, to your right.
Sacrilege in the flesh.
Sacrilege in the flesh. And we're starting this new series. We are two artists that are based out of Visalia, California.
Central Valley,
Porterville, Visalia. And we've been away from each other for the past 2 years. And personally, for myself, for the past 7 years, I've been living in Los Angeles and working on music. I went to school for music, audio engineering. And Zach has been gone as well. Where you been?
About the last 6 years, I've been out in Sacramento, also going to school, Sac State, and pursuing music for the most part. And it seems like we both found our way back here.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like we've both been out doing our own thing on different sides of the state. One in northern, one in southern. Living our own lives, getting our own experiences for the past 7-8 years, and it just so happened that fate led us back together. We used to be in a hip hop group in 2010 to about 2012, and then that's when we left each other. And we haven't played a show in about 6 years, but we're back making music now.
I mean, we never really called it quits, but we just kind of, a little hiatus because we lived in different members of the state, different areas of the state.
Yeah, and I moved back for my own personal reasons.
Yeah, same.
I was working after college. After I went to the Los Angeles Recording School for music production and technology, and after that, I started working for Roland US. I got an internship through them, and I never really let go after the internship. I really wanted to work with them. I mean, Roland's a incredible company, and it was a dream of mine to really just be in the office at the corporate offices, which focused on marketing and sales. We didn't do any development there of instruments, but it was still a dream to be out there doing that. And I was working a lot, and my rent was just too goddamn much. I'm from the party of the rent is too goddamn high.
I feel that.
The rent is too goddamn high, all right? I was paying $2,000 for a 2-bedroom, myself $1,200 plus utilities. If you're making fucking minimum wage or close to that, even at full time, you ain't making shit. Yeah. You can't live, you can't do shit. Yeah. And I wasn't able to afford it, so when my lease was up, I came back here to my hometown, and I'm kicking it for a year, gonna save up some money, and we're working on music, and we're gonna go back to LA together. But what's been your story since leaving Visalia in 2012?
Where do I begin?
Well, you don't gotta fucking tell the whole thing yet. But
I guess same shit. I went away for school, Sac State, and while I was doing that, still doing music, and then like you said, city life's really expensive, whether it be Northern California or Southern California. And even though I'm sure LA is much more expensive than Sacramento, it's still, a lot more than what we're used to facilitating. And, and I made up for those expenses by doing, probably not the best way I could have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I get a little bit of glimpse of what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Those extracurricular activities.
That might be something for a later day that we tell a big long story.
Yeah, but anyway, I was just got caught up in city life, man, and had a lot of ups, a lot of downs, and couldn't keep up with it. Had to come back home, get my mind straight, and here we are. I'm not one of those people that thinks everything happens for a reason, but I mean, some things do, right?
Yeah, and I have a really good feeling about the music that we've been working on.
Yeah.
It's coming together really nicely. He's been working on doing hip-hop for the time that he's been gone, and I kind of fell off since 2012, and I've been working on my production skills a lot, so when we met back up, it was really convenient that we were just, working on music together. And I think that's been a really good feeling about the music that we've been working on. Yeah. It's coming together really nicely. He's been working on doing hip-hop for the time that he's been gone, and I kind of fell off since 2012, and I've been working on my production skills a lot, so when we met back up, it was really convenient that my production's fucking on point. This dude's rapping is on point. I'm coming back with my poetry as well that I've been slacking on for the past few years as far as hip hop goes. But
it was perfect timing.
It's a perfect storm too. I think it's great.
Yeah, and I mean, you're still doing music. You know, you were doing your thing with Indra.
Yeah, I was in a 3-piece band, vocals, piano, and drums. Kind of a little bit on the experimental side. We played a few shows and had a lot of fun. Made a record, produced a vinyl. So it was a huge accomplishment. It was great to be friends with those guys and do what we did.
Yeah.
But what do you think, man? You think we should hear a little sample of some of the new stuff that we were working on?
Yeah, show the people what we've been cooking up.
All right. So I think this is this one is original beat.
What do you say we mix it up a bit?
It's called The Know-How.
Y'all like people under the stairs?
We went away to learn, and now we got the know-how, and we're coming back, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean what I say. You're looking for the time when the time is today. We got the know-how. I've seen all the sights, and I've gone all the ways. Finding myself, I was looking for space. We got the know-how. Blessed be my town, spirit been found. From highest of hopes, man, from back off the ground. I'm back on it now, just like I should be. Done left my old home to find me a new key. Profusely been learning, scraping and earning. No guarantees, but changes for certain. Time can improve, and they can worsen. Takes luck to remain untouched as a person. Another long night with the best, smoking cigarettes and riding my bike down Sunset. The city light shine deep into my soul. When I think about you, when I think about home, I look at the life that I built. I think about leaving, the feeling of guilt. Way back when I left so far in the past, the only way forward had to step on the gas. I say what I
We don't want to give too much away because this is all an effort in the new album that we're doing that we are super excited about. We put a lot of fucking time into this.
Y'all gonna have to go and cop that.
So the thing is, Zach and I have known each other for quite some time now. Not a super long time. We're not too old, but we've known each other for half each other's lives, or about.
Yeah.
And we both have a common connection, which is punk rock. And
fuck yeah.
Real punk.
That's a big fuck yeah.
Yeah. So, do you want to talk about how you got started playing music in the first place, like through punk bands? Like,
dude,
I know it was kind of an accident for you.
Well, when it comes to playing music in the first place, for me, which I'm pretty sure for you too, it all started with punk rock. Like, that was my first. I mean, I liked music before then, but that was like my first musical love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's really like my first passion through music. You know, it just comes from being like a kid who didn't really know where you fit in, you know what I mean? And who had something to be angry about, you know what I mean? Just feeling displaced in a world you didn't fit in.
So like you start off listening to like shit that's not so fucking hardcore and
oh man, I was the worst with that one.
Yeah, you listen like my first. I love Kiss still to this day, but that was like my first concert, you know.
Yeah.
And I grew up listening to the Beatles, listening to Kiss, but nothing, same as you, really resonated until I fucking heard punk rock. I heard the Misfits on accident, and it like it changed my life.
That's a whole lot cooler of an intro to punk than mine was.
Yeah. I think I have a gist of what your intro to punk rock was, but maybe you could shed a little bit of light. How did you first?
Man, I mean, I guess it started in the 6th grade. There's this chick that I had a fat crush on, and she was into like, you know, like the 2000s pop punk, like beginner punk rock bands, and I was like, well, maybe if I
like Good Charlotte,
and Simple Plan, you know, like diet punk, like,
yeah, diet punk.
You know what I'm saying? Diet punk. I was like, well, maybe if I start bumping that shit, maybe she'll like me too, and it didn't really work out so good. So
did she like wear like patches and shit?
Dude,
and, like, have, like,
and the
full
wristbands up to the elbows, you know.
The ones that crisscrossed?
Dog.
Remember those?
The little jelly ones.
Remember those?
Yeah, and the studded bracelets from Hot Topic.
And like tennis bands with
Dude,
like the
yeah,
fucking
the sweatbands.
the first meme bunny on it that would say like "Go fuck yourself."
The
or
Happy
something.
Tree Friends.
The happy tree. The happy tree.
Yeah,
fucking.
I'm saying it was so bad. It was so bad.
Yeah,
and, And I was like, well, maybe if I start dressing like that and listen to that, maybe she'll like me. And it didn't happen.
No.
But I mean, I started listening to that music and I was like, this is kind of cool. And then I started seeing all the patches that those bands were wearing, like the Ramones, and Minor Threat, and Dead Kennedys. And I was like, I'll check that out. And I listened to that and I was like, oh fuck, like this is way better. You know what I'm saying? And it actually resonated. I was an angry teenager. I was fucking pissed off. I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. And when I heard that, well, like, you know, Dead Kennedys and like Minor Threat and Ramones, I was like, okay, yeah, this is this is where I belong.
Yeah. Was it like was it like the angst, the anger, the speed, the fucking was it? Like,
the frustration.
Yeah.
The frustration and the angst and the just like the lyrics of being like alienated. I related with that, you know what I mean? I like childhood for me was really like awkward, you know what I mean? I didn't feel like when I got older in my teenage years, I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. I was always a little off balance, you know what I mean? And listening to that just made me not feel like a fucking weirdo.
You know what? Like what's cool about what I would consider what I like about punk anyway, not to say it's real fucking punk against diet punk as you call it.
Yeah.
Is that diet punk? And there's all these artists that are out there saying the things that punk was saying or trying to replicate that feeling, but if you listen to hardcore bands or early punk bands, anything of that era, you could feel it in the music, in the audio, that they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Like with sound, like it sounds like trash. Like early Bad Brains, early Black Flag, it sounds like shit.
Yeah.
All the early Beach Boulevard stuff has a very specific sound to it that you can't even replicate today.
No way.
It was just kids doing it, and that's kind of how my first band was too. Like we fucking recorded with one microphone in the middle of the room at Corey's house.
Yeah. Just
at
like
Corey's,
my band.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just like during the same time as Main Street Rats, was it? Skeletons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Main Street Rats, don't give them any air.
no airtime for no.
I'm just kidding. They're
ain't
cool
no
guys.
airtime for you. No airtime for them. But
nah, Mike's cool.
My band back then, the Demented 2007, we recorded that album in Corey's room with one microphone.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I wouldn't want it to sound any other way.
For sure.
Imagine if we would have been like professionally mixed and mastered and like just completely torqued. It wouldn't be the same. It sounds like shit. Don't get me wrong. It's terrible, but it's a memory of terrible, and it's a sound and a feeling.
And for what it was perfect. You know.
That's what I think. Punk rock is almost different than some genres. Not different than all. I think hip hop also correlates with that, and funk. But there are certain genres like pop that are just way too fucking overproduced, and like I'm sure there's good pop out there. I've heard good pop before, but I just don't relate to it because it feels so out of reach for me, you know. So listening to punk as a young kid, 6th grade, 7th grade, drew me into, man. I like when you're a punk for life. You're pretty much
for sure. Yeah. It's more than just how you. It's more than how you dress or like
scene points and
what
shit.
you do. Yeah, it's like it's how you look at life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's at least for me. Like
no, definitely.
Like I don't dress that way anymore. I don't wear fucking patches on shit and like fucking punk band tees every day anymore. But I mean, it's not about that.
You don't need to.
No, it's not a dress code. It's about how you think and the way
It's kind of funny because, like, when you first become a punk, like you were saying, like, you're looking at her patches or, like, her friend's patches, and you're like, oh, who's that?
Yeah.
When you first are a punk, you kind of feel like it's mandatory, maybe because you're not so familiar with what it means, that you gravitate towards dressing like a street punk or kind of, like, going overboard to show. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, too, I guess, like, the more deeper you get into it, at least for some people, it seems like the more punk they try to be, it's like...
It's scene points.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing. I think it happens... I don't know if it happens with every scene or if it's just, like, people that are like into scenes that are musically inclined or like artsy inclined. You know, I feel like it's the same thing as like some like social justice warrior. It's like virtue signaling.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh, I know this fucking band and you don't, or I saw this band, so
Yeah.
I'm cool. When in the end,
Yeah.
it's not.
Do you even know any of their songs?
Exactly. It's like, oh well, I have like the European fucking bootleg tape test press tape of theirs. There was only 5. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where a lot of it fell off for me as far as the punk scene. Not that I don't still love punk, but
The elitism.
I got too deep. It's like getting into modern art or some shit. You know, it's just at some point it just gets a little bit redundant and silly. But I think that hip hop for us, since we started after being in punk bands, you toured in punk bands, and I've been in tons of punk bands and recording bands before, but I think that hip hop is very close to punk. I think it was like
for sure.
There's a correlation between the angst in hip hop and like the
common
angst.
man's frustration, dude.
Pretty much.
You know, and I mean, there's like different schools, just like, you know, in punk there's different schools, like, but like raw hip hop, pretty much, you know, it's similar to punk, just the common man's day-to-day life and frustrations with dealing with it, you know.
Dude, one of the things I mentioned earlier is that I worked for Roland US.
Yeah.
Which Roland has been making synthesizers, if you don't know, since the late 1970s. Before that, they were Ace Rhythm, made some of the first drum machines ever, had part in developing MIDI technology, which is musical instrument digital interface technology that completely revolutionized the game. And it's the reason that you're able to plug in your keyboard into your laptop and make synthesizer. I mean, it's really responsible for a lot of musical genres out there. One of the most important and the first that it was responsible for influencing was hip hop. The
I didn't know that.
The TR-808 was a Roland invention.
Really?
The 808 drums, you know, the
Damn. That every fucking modern rapper uses now.
Everyone loves the 808, dude.
Yeah.
The 808's a great drum. It's timeless. And, you know, you hear it early in songs that Africa Bambaataa was doing. And you hear it in songs that Kanye are doing, or any fucking trap song that you listen to has an 808 variance in it.
Yeah.
But Roland created the TR-808. The founder of Roland, Iketaro Kakahashi, wanted to build rhythmic machines that he could play organ and piano with and shit. Mm-hmm. But it ended up developing into this whole different thing. And when the 808 came out, it flopped. It was a complete failure, and nobody bought it. It was too expensive, and nobody really understood what it was for. So they ended up selling all of the pieces to pawn shops for pretty much pennies on the dollar, or even in some cases throwing them away because they couldn't sell them. So people in less fortunate neighborhoods that didn't have money ended up picking up the 808 at pawn shops, and like I said, sometimes in the trash. And they ended up putting a low pass filter on it, which only allows the bass to go through, and it created that 808 that we know, that kind of had part in developing hip hop. And so I think Roland was a great company to work for. And like I said, it started from poor kids in the hood that came across the 808, that developed that. And in the 80s for at least hardcore punk, and in the 70s for other punk, it was kids that were being oppressed in their own way.
Yeah.
And didn't like what the government had to say, didn't like what people around them were saying. They didn't feel like they fit in. And it all kind of ties together.
I can see that.
Yeah. But I that's why I feel so fortunate to have worked for that company.
I bet that was one hell of an experience.
It was great, man. It was fucking awesome, and everyone there was really cool. I would never trade it for anything.
I bet it taught you a lot about industry too.
Yeah, it did. I got to work on some film sets and do some music production for a commercial, and work at events, demonstrate drums. It was really fucking cool, man. Never trade it for anything. Great experience that's taught me a lot that will help our group, you know. And we're just getting started with all of this too. So we do have aspirations to go bigger someday. It's just a means of making it happen financially. But I think we're going in the right direction.
Got a good foundation.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we like you said, we've been doing music for a long time.
Yeah.
And
it's not just like something that we're trying to pick up now.
And especially with Cipher, we've been doing this since like 2010, 2011?
Yeah, 2010.
But we're just recently picking it back up after a little hiatus. But
7 years.
Hey, I'll tell you what though, now it's a whole lot more established than it used to be.
Yeah. I think, oh shit. Did you see the it's time for one of our new segments. It's
It's about that time, huh?
What's this called? What's this segment called?
Hey dude, you think I could chug that beer?
The segment, hey dude, you think I could chug that beer? We're gonna find out if we can chug a beer.
Both of us?
Yeah, both of us.
Oh man. Right.
So this is a segment where we figure out if we can chug a beer. And it's called, hey fool, you think we can chug this beer? And that's what we're gonna do.
Salud. Oh. I guess we could.
Oh my god.
Excuse me.
That was violent. Holy shit. I'm gonna have to zoom in on that part. Holy fuck.
That was a little sloppy on my entry.
It was pretty violent.
I mean, I got it down.
So, as well as doing hip hop on our own, I've been producing his solo album for the past,
Excuse me.
3 months or so?
Yeah. My second, or no, my
Third.
Yeah, my third solo release. But what makes this one special is this is my first release that I've done a whole project with one producer.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I'd say it's the best.
And yeah, and what's made it really cool is, I mean, like both prior releases, were all beats given specifically to me, which was cool. I didn't do any mixtape stuff, but I really like this one because like I got to work with somebody hands on like the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Let's listen to it a little.
Oh yeah.
This isn't near the final version, but it's the only one I can play on here.
Yeah, let's get it. To this I'm staying committed. Nothing is changing my vision like going the course I was given. As much as I'm trying to be living like, as much as I'm trying to be living. Yeah, let's get it. To this I'm staying committed. Nothing is changing my vision like going the course I was given. As much as I'm trying to be living like, as much as I'm trying to be living. I fully manage my time. I'm fully back on my grind. Was a fool to think I won't fall behind.
And I'll say that this is a demo version of what we've been working on. I haven't bounced the copy that we're working on yet, just because I've been mixing it a lot, and I think we got a lot of time to put into it. But it sounds fucking cool.
Yeah, like I said, this is the first one that I've done with one producer. Well, I mean, the one before this was all the beats were given from one producer, but they were just that given to me. Like, I didn't get to sit in and, give him melodies or, like,
have any input. And plus, it's like we're working on the whole fucking format ourselves. Like, everything in the session is on one track. So, I can balance you. We're fitting styles. I know the hi-hat needs to come out when you say that.
Yeah. So, I really think this will be my best solo release yet. It's called Gray Skies and Palm Trees. It'll be out sometime after the Cult Cipher release is gonna drop first. So sometime after that's dropped, my next solo release will be out. So
well, I think it's going all right so far.
Yeah, not bad for the first one.
We do need to take a break, and we do need to get ready to come back with our next segment. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's get it.
It's my thing. I like Chinese chicken.
Cause I only come with them prime cuts. Rappers riding that same way. Best step your lives up. Cause I'm hyped up and I can feel it now. Natural high can't get me down.
And we are back.
Yeah.
Throw those motherfuckers out of the way because you don't need them anymore.
Them cripple sticks, boy.
Throw them cripple sticks out the wind.
Ooh, I tell you what.
So, we're back. We had a nice little break. We talked about Jesus and what L. Ron meant to us. And we're actually going to start off with a segment. So both of us are huge fans of craft beer. Would you go as far as to say that, Zach?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you're a huge fan of craft beer?
Huge.
Well, you have this fancy measuring cup that looks like a pint glass. I think it's 16 ounces standard.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be reviewing a beer.
Excuse me.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
Crack this bad boy.
Yeah. You fucking wish you could crack that fucking bad boy. This point, don't look at that shit.
I crack all the bad boys. Wait, no, I don't.
You gotta know when to hold 'em.
Play the game, boy.
I think I got it. Oh!
How the fuck?
So today we're drinking North Coast
Oh, this is
Breweries.
North Coast beer?
Brother Thelonious. And I don't know about Zach, but Thelonious Monk is a gigantic musical inspiration to
How
me.
the fuck do you open this?
It says that on the bottled bebop, supporting jazz and education, which is cool. I actually got my start in music playing jazz. You got it?
What part do you open this at?
So we got Brother Thelonious, delicious beer that we're gonna review for you. We're gonna tell you a little bit about how it tastes, and
Yeah.
just know that my palate's fantastic and his palate's dog shit. So
Dude, fuck this guy. like we were saying, we're both huge craft beer fans for sure. He usually goes more towards like the more like hoppy IPA tastes and more like a darker.
what do you usually go towards?
Stout and porter.
What
As of lately, I guess.
Yeah. What about
Stouts
you?
and porters and.
Yeah, stouts and porters.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I still love a good IPA.
We're drinking this,
especially since it's summertime now. Something.
So just so everyone knows, we're drinking these out of the proper glasses. This is a West Ham United coffee mug that I've had for the past couple of years. Trusty. Yeah. Okay.
West
and
Ham is blowing bubbles.
Blowing bubbles. And Zach's got a measuring cup, so here, Korean culture. I pour yours.
Yeah.
Since we're both obviously Korean.
Obviously.
Brother Thelonious, we're gonna see how this tastes. Ooh, you hear that?
I've had it before, but I really don't remember what it tastes like.
If anyone online is gonna tell us, "Oh man, you guys didn't pour that in the right glass. You didn't pour it the right way. You're not supposed to do that," go fuck yourself, because we don't really care at all.
Gracias.
We're not fucking.
Then you want me to pour yours?
No, it's fine. Yeah, here. No, I don't trust you. Get that fucking water out of there. Let's see.
I don't trust you either, fool.
Hey, fool. So.
Yeah, but I've definitely had this before, but I don't remember what the hell it tastes like.
I know there's coriander in here.
What is it? Is it
It's a Belgian style ale.
Okay,
but
like
it's
a Belgian.
It's like a it's like a triple. It's
like
dark as fuck.
Okay.
And it's got some herbs in there.
So like a. All right, yeah, I've had Belgian style ales before.
Yeah, hold up. Let me let my head dissipate. I've heard that in good beers, what you find is different sizes and bubbles in the head. So you see, there's real fine bubbles and there's large bubbles. That's how you define a good beer from a shitty beer. Like you pour a fucking butt wipe, which is also AKA Bud Light.
Butt wiper and butt wipe.
Butt wiper and butt wipe into a glass, and you're gonna get some fucking soapy ass bitch, tiny ass micro bubbles in there. But this looks pretty good.
Yeah, Trent would be proud.
It smells really good too. It smells like coriander.
It does.
It's got like
I've totally fucking had this before, but.
All right, let's give this a shot.
Yeah. Skål.
Skål. Prost. Salud. L'chaim.
Yeah, pretty much like it says. I mean, Belgian style. Ale.
It's weird. It tastes like a fucking michelada almost a little bit, huh? Like when you first get that, because it's savory.
Yeah, really thick savory taste.
Your palate doesn't really know what to do with it at first. But North Coast Brewing Company, independent since 1988, bottled Bebop. Bebop, ski-blop, bop, bop, bop. Supporting jazz education. Certified B? I don't know what that means. Maybe bitch shit. Skibbity-beep, boop, bop, bop. Bottled in Fort Bragg, California, local-ish. 9.4%. That's some $8 at the good old Save Mart.
Boy, I tell you what. That's some good finds right there. We're going down to the Save Mart.
I tell you what. What do you think, though?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It tastes pretty much just like most Belgian-style ales I had. Like, I don't know, that taste, it's like a really, like, not sweet, but like, I don't know, it's not an abrasive taste like an IPA. I don't know how I'd say it.
So it's not
almost like a sweet
it's not
taste.
hoppy.
No, not hoppy at all or malty, but it's like, it has like kind of a sweeter taste to it. I don't know how.
It is 9.4%, so there's probably a decent amount of sugar in here. But I like the savory, spicy notes that it has. You know,
like the spicier aftertaste for sure.
I like I'm pretty sure there's like, I've said coriander 3 times. It's probably inappropriate for any
There's
situation.
coriander in it.
Coriander. There's coriander in this beer.
Hey, dude, is there coriander in it?
Dude, someone from North Coast is going to hit me up and be like, bitch, there ain't no coriander in that shit.
Don't sue us.
And I'll fight them. I'll fight them to the death. But no.
Physically or legally?
Both. You pick which one happens first. Thelonious Monk, legendary jazz artist, though. Yeah. He was known for kind of like breaking the norm in jazz music. He was trained by a lady named Mary Williams, which among his contemporaries, there were a lot of people that were trained by her and did like a lot of really great shit. He played out of scale, played odd notes, shit that wasn't necessarily supposed to fit in, but it gave you like that certain feeling, the same way that punk did too.
And that's wild because jazz was originally always about like breaking the norm and like, yeah. So to like do that within jazz, he must have been a really unconventional motherfucker.
I think that's probably why North Coast decided to pay homage with such a strange tasting beer.
Makes sense.
With coriander. Coriander.
You gotta say it like that every time you say it now.
Coriander. I believe there's a hint of coriander in this cerveza. Is this still a cerveza? I don't think so, huh?
Nah.
It's an ale at this point. Belgian style ale.
I feel like the last week of my life has had a constant theme of jazz in it. Like, yeah. From after, because just a couple of days ago, I found myself just scrolling through Netflix or whatever, and I was like, I couldn't help but be captivated by the Robert Johnson documentary they did. Blues. And I've seen the Crossroads movie before, or whatever. I know the story behind Robert Johnson.
And for people who don't, he's one of the first blues artists, first famous people. He was known for selling his soul to the devil in order to be a famous musician. That was
musician. The folklore.
The folklore, at least.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a lot of people had followed suit. Right.
And I've seen a lot of documentaries about him before, and I've seen the Crossroads movie from the 80s with the Karate Kid in it, which was dope. But the last one that I caught was actually really sick,
Documentary?
Yeah. And it really, like, talked about... Because most of them kind of pick up only where he, like... during his music career and not his early life or who he was as a person, and this one really portrayed him as like a ungodly, whiskey drinking, womanizing blues man, much like myself.
Totally. But Zach the womanizer.
No. The whiskey drinking ungodly man. But,
okay.
But I mean, out of all the ones that I've seen, I probably like that one the most. And yeah, and then, a couple days later, to I mean, just to bring up the jazz aspect about it, you know.
Yeah. I definitely started doing jazz as drumming and kept going ever since. I think it helps with my rhythm too now, you know.
It's crazy to think, dude, like they said like jazz is the devil's music, you know.
It definitely is.
Yeah, I mean
No, that was because I mean
I get it.
it was
I get why they
associated
would say
with
that.
fucking black people the same way that they made weed illegal.
Yeah.
Saying that Mexicans
And rock and roll,
black
too.
people and rock and roll. Like Chuck Berry back in the day was only allowed to play in Western Europe because there were still segregation laws. Like it's fucked up. Dude.
It's crazy to think like, dude, if those people heard the music that's like on popular radio nowadays, they'd probably their head would explode.
Oh, yeah. They'd shit their fucking pants.
Dude, speaking of segregation, I actually talked to I had a good talk with my grandpa the other day.
Yeah?
And he grew up in the 60s, and it was just a trip to, I mean, because, all through, like, growing up through with, like, history class and stuff, you learn about segregation.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to, like, talk to somebody about it and hear their experiences with it. And
he grew up in the 60s.
Yeah, and he told me,
He's like 70-ish, 70?
Yeah, well, he was, like...
No, that makes sense, though.
Yeah, so...
He's like 70?
Yeah.
Something?
Yeah, he's like 70. And he told me about, like, all the experiences he had with segregation. That shit is crazy.
Yeah, my mom grew up, she was pretty young in the 1960s, but she still saw her fair share of, that era. My mom's white, obviously.
Yeah. No way.
But, no way. No, but, yeah, I don't think she ever thought it was right either. It's kind of like, but, it's crazy that the problems we have, like, that in some points we're still playing catch up, yesterday the fucking bill in Alabama to defund abortion, banned abortion, make abortion illegal.
Can we just abort
which
Alabama?
Depending, it doesn't matter what side of abortion you're on. If you want to fucking save kids, if you want to fucking that's not the point.
Yeah.
They also don't have sexual education. They teach abstinence. They have no backup.
Because that works.
And they have no backup plan for women that have those kids in that situation. There's no...
So if they're like, forced on or anything like that, there's nothing they can do?
No, they have to keep it. In the state of Alabama.
That's awful.
I know. Even for rape, they have to keep the child.
Damn.
Yeah, so it seems like some of the southern states, Alabama, Mississippi, are like the last.
Yeah.
But then we looked up yesterday. Statistically, I think it may be wrong. Nobody fucking get pissed. 15% of people in
Somebody's
Alabama
gonna get triggered.
Some guy in Alabama's like, I don't know what these motherfuckers are talking about. They're out there in California hanging out with Matthew McConaughey, Keanu Reeves, and Halle
Bunch of
Berry.
damn hippies.
Bunch of goddamn hippies. Listen, 15% of the Alabama population cannot read or write.
That's sad.
Proficiently. But they can vote for president.
I mean, how can you read the
ballot?
Yeah, how can you read the ballot?
I think that says Donald Trump on it. I think that says Donald Trump.
Hell yeah, brother, we gonna run that.
By the way, if we have any foreign listeners,
we're being sarcastic.
we do not like Donald Trump
No.
at all.
Please catch our sarcasm.
We do not like Donald Trump at all.
But I don't think
I don't know any. Well, I know actually. I don't know any. I know hella people that like Donald Trump.
Trump supporters, yeah. I got homies that are Trump supporters. I mean, to each his own. But...
At this point, it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, you gonna
what are you gonna do about it?
What, you gonna fight with these motherfuckers about like,
yeah,
that they're stupid? That ain't gonna help shit.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta just.
It's not gonna
let
do shit.
people have their own opinions, I guess, even if their opinions are wrong.
Which,
yeah.
We have been working on some other shit. Despite our pessimistic little bullshit that's going on now, I think we have a song that is a little happy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let's give it a listen.
my day. They remind me who I am and remind me where I'm from. They remind me it's my day. The fresh morning air, it's my day. And the sights in the sky, it's my day. They remind me who I am and remind me where I'm from. They remind me it's my day. I'm chill like Hobby in the box. Open up your wings so you can feel the beat knock. I can feel it come down like rain in the night when the moon glows white and illuminates the valley below. Sometimes it's all I know, all I feel, but what's real is my imagination running up hills for truth I can't see, I don't know, but in truth I believe that there's hope and I can feel it on my day.
So there's like there's a couple things that have like, I don't know if it's the same for you because I haven't really like talked to you or asked you about those types of things before. But there are certain things that I'm super grateful in the past couple of years because, you know, we've both been alone. Zach's been in Sacramento. I've been in Los Angeles. And there's certain things that have kept me going and kept me happy and sane and that I'm super grateful for. And I feel like have saved my life in many ways. And I feel like for a lot of other people, one of them being soccer. And the reason I bring that up is one of my first lines in here is I'm chill like Javi in the box. Javier Hernandez, he scores every goal in the box. And he plays for West Ham United, my team, the shirt that I'm repping today. And the people that I met through West Ham United, I was able to meet more people that were involved in Los Angeles Football Club. The hats that we have today, Los Luckies is the supporters group I was able to meet and
Viva Los Luckies.
Viva Los Luckies and chill with. And
yeah, dude. I mean,
I feel like it the football gave me a sense of community and being happy and even sad a lot of the time, especially being a West Ham fan. It sucks, but sometimes it's great all the time.
Gotta stick to
but sometimes it sucks.
Yeah.
But do you have anything like that like besides music that kept you going?
Dude, I mean, as far as football, like you're the one who put me onto that, dude. And
yeah,
I'm grateful since you did, like, you know.
But what about like was there anything in SAC that like people or
yeah, well, I guess
anything you got involved with?
Community. I mean, living in Sacramento, like there was a lot of good times and a couple years that were pretty rough, but what kept me besides music, I'd say a communal sense, man. Living in the neighborhood I did, living in Midtown Sacramento, dude, like I've never I'm sure you can relate, being a kid from a small town, you know, where like everything, like if you don't live in the main part of town, you're kind of isolated from everything unless you can drive 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
And you know, like living in Midtown in Sacramento, dude, it's such a communal sense because like Midtown is essentially like the art and culture district of downtown Sac, and it's like where like the residential area and like the downtown environment kind of like intertwine. So it's like you walk everywhere, you know, kind of like how old town Pasadena is.
Yeah,
kind of like
it's like
that,
the same thing.
Kind of like that, except a little bit more.
It's
a little
like,
bit more punk rock and a little bit more like
grimy.
Yeah,
Pasadena is like super fucking nice.
Yeah, it's like the same, like it's really urban and like upscale and nice, but kind of a little more hipster and punk rock, and you know what I mean. So like being a part of the Midtown community, really like that was my first time. Like I could walk to the bars. Walk a couple blocks over, there's the river entrance. Walk home, you know, you see everybody, you see the same people every day, you know what I mean? That was my first time being a part of a community like that.
It's the same thing for the Luckies, huh?
Yeah, the fucking I can relate to what you're saying, like, you know, that communal sense. The communal sense.
See the bartenders, know their names, they know your name.
Yeah.
Going to the restaurants, walking by the same place every day. You got the homies, everybody's saying what's up. You know, people got your back. The Luckies have had my back so much, man. West Ham has had my back so much. It's great. And that's football, soccer. Like that's a sport that's been able to help me, so.
And dude, like I said too, like cuz you know, like I've never been like the biggest on sports, but then like when you put me on to like you put me on to football, like dude, I will say like that is like the coolest like sport I've ever witnessed, and like the support culture is so sick.
Like,
it's not like going to a fucking NFL game with a bunch of fucking, you know what I mean?
Just
like,
full disclosure, Zach has like no interest in sport. Really, you don't give a fuck.
Not before that. No.
So he has no interest in sport, and I was like, hey, just fucking come hang out with me for opening day for LAFC this year. I forgot who we played. Kansas City, I think it was. And I just told him, come with me. We busted a fat mission on a vlog that will be up on the YouTube channel coming up shortly. I think he liked it. He met all my friends, and it's not just sport, I think, right? That's kind of like the...
Yeah, it's more about the culture that surrounds it, too.
Yeah. I think that's super important for people. Like, I think a lot of people will be introverted or have their job and then never really, like, find that sense of community. You know, we're really lucky because we have an artistic outlet and a sense of community.
A lot of people don't.
I think at least it's important, if you don't have a fucking artistic outlet, to have like a sense of community and people to back you up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Well, I guess Zach's, let me see what he's sending those people right now.
Hey, fuck off.
Messaging during the first podcast is fucking superstar over here.
That's like the third time I've done that.
By the way, we were sitting in the front row of the LAFC match.
You were gonna fucking bring this
the
up.
Front fucking row. Well, if you weren't acting like a diva right now, I wouldn't have brought it up.
Oh, fuck you.
Front fucking row. Will Ferrell is the owner. Will Ferrell, Mia Hamm, Magic Johnson. There's like 17 owners of Los Angeles Football Club, LAFC. But we're chilling in the front row. And right behind the fucking goal where the 3252 is, the supporters union for the club. And Will Ferrell comes over and he's shaking everybody's hand and just fucking like, yeah, raging with all the fans and shit.
LAFC.
Raging with all the fans. And Zach pulled what he just fucking did right now. And he was sitting there like this.
Dude, I was blitzed
and
out
I'm on his right. And I'm yelling, Zach.
He's like trying to shake my hand.
I'm trying to fucking get Zach's attention. Because standing right in front of him is Will Ferrell trying to fucking tell this fool, yeah! And he did not pay attention. He just kept looking at his phone. And I tried getting his attention and I was yelling at him and he just looked at me and he went, what, dude? And I was like, fuck you. You don't get to meet Will Ferrell, motherfucker.
Dude, and I'm a huge Will Ferrell fan. Hey, Will Ferrell, I know you'll probably
What do you think is like his
You'll
best?
probably never see this, but if you ever see this, dude, I want to meet you again.
Yeah, Will Ferrell, please.
He'll never see this.
It's alright. We'll meet him again. He's a lucky.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell, he's a lucky boy.
Really? Dude,
my homie Brian threw a lucky scarf on him last year at the beginning of the year. And he kept it on him, and he always wears the lucky scarf to the game. So there's pictures of him holding the lucky scarf.
Hell yeah,
it's cool as fuck. He's not. We don't know him, but yeah, he's a lucky. The homie Guillermo from Jimmy Fallon. He's a lucky too.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, he's an unofficial lucky.
That's tight as fuck.
Yeah, we only got a couple minutes left. But I think overall the first podcast has been pretty fun, man.
Dude, it went way better than I thought it was going to.
That's how much faith this fool got.
Dude, I have all the faith. I'm just saying.
He believes in Jesus too.
Fuck that. I mean, yes.
Let me pander to my Christian fans.
Fuck no.
I mean, sorry. Nah.
My rap name's Sacrilege. I mean,
that's true. By the way, one more
impression.
time, we are together, Cipher, hip hop group from Northern, Southern, and Central California. Even though there's only 2 people, we're in 3 places at once.
Yo, and also too, we can't forget about our man's Diego, Infinite, honorary Cipher member. He's overseas right now, actually.
Yeah, so
shouts out to the boy.
Our third member, Diego, joined the National Guard when we were like
about 19. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the time, he volunteered to go to Afghanistan, which was like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's been in the military ever since. And he got engaged. I don't think he got married yet.
No, yeah, him and Marissa, no, they're married.
Yeah, are they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's
Yeah, shouts to
married,
them.
and yeah, congratulations. And he ended up, what he told me, getting voluntold
Yeah.
to go to Afghanistan. So he's there for a year, and
Yeah.
he's
Well, it's
he's
been a
awesome.
couple months already, so he'll be back before we know it.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Yeah, it's a good thing that the war's not as active as it was. You know,
Yeah, definitely.
chances are he'll be back.
Yeah,
ship shape.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Yeah,
He's a
but,
smart dude.
Yeah. He's like the honorary third member. Well, not honorary.
No, he's the third
member of
yeah.
Cult Cipher. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we all kind of drifted apart, but he'll find his way back, and when he does, you know, we'll have space for him on some tracks.
Always. And you know, I think this is a good place for us to say goodbye. And my name is Aiden, the Unsung Bastard, USB, Colt Cipher. This is my homie.
Is that Sacrilege, a.k.a. Sacrilege? I thought I was going to have something cool to say.
Tell the people where to find you. Instagram.
Yeah, you can find me Instagram at Colt Cipher, Instagram Sacrilege with an extra E, you know?
Sacrilege with the net.
With an additional E, you know, at SACRILEGE, E again.
And my name on Instagram is THOM_PORKE, like Tom York, but if I was not vegetarian.
Yeah, and the new Cult Cipher album will be out at the end of next month.
June 28th by the latest. I think
And,
hopefully before that.
Followed by my solo release produced by Aiden, Gray Skies and Palm Trees. Check
Gray
me out.
skies and palm trees. All right, Sac. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Oh, Sacrilege 559 on SoundCloud also.